Hey everyone, welcome back to my show, The Good Human Series, where I talk to people about ways that we can lift each other up, become better at what we do daily, showcase small businesses, and just overall ways we can be good humans and make a difference in the world. If you're new here, I'm your host, Holly Haggard, and I encourage you to share, like, and comment during the show. If you're watching on the replay, type in #replay so we know when you're watching. I have a wonderful guest today, Carrie Grace, who is the executive director of Freedom Shield Foundation. And Carrie has been on my show a couple times, and this girl is just amazing. She really is such an inspiration, and I am so excited for you to hear some updates and some new stories that she is going to share with us today. I also have with me today Lyndon, who is the founder and creator of The Difference. He is an amazing, amazing mentor and partner in this podcast, and I wouldn't be here without him, and I'm so grateful. So let's bring on Carrie and Lyndon. Hey guys, how are you?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
You too. It's good to see you again.
You as well.
So, Carrie, let's just kind of jump right into some of the new things that you've been working on. I know we have discussed previously the Shiloh House. Can you tell us a little more about what's going on with the Shiloh House, what you do there, and how it got started?
Absolutely. So I just stepped out to join y'all for a little bit this afternoon. I've been sitting in a training for the last 3 days with Homeland Security victim advocate, Sarah Lynn Morgan. She's phenomenal, and she's training our entire team of advocates right now. We have 23 women going through this training, and all of us are the women who serve in our Shiloh House, which is our safe house for sex trafficked victims. Our location is right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And, it's one of those issues that when you're working in anti-trafficking, one of the most frustrating things that we have faced is that maybe law enforcement is able to rescue a victim out of a horrific situation, but there's literally nowhere to take them. There's no safe houses or residential homes for sex trafficked victims. And it's a problem nationwide. There's only 529 beds in the entire nation for sex trafficked victims. And so this was just one of those issues that we could not ignore. We knew we had to do something about it. And so our goal this year, we started kind of working on this in January, was to open up the Shiloh House. And it took us months to get, the funding raised and a staff trained and ready to go. And we were able to open our doors in August. And I'm telling you, I absolutely love this home. I love the work that we're getting to do. I feel like we have the most amazing team of women who just know how to love well, to be safe, to show up with no agenda. When a woman or a girl has been rescued out of this lifestyle, honestly, they need to rest more than they need to perform, for someone's program. They just need a minute. And that's why I named it the Shiloh House, because that's truly just a place of peace and tranquility. And that's what we've been able to see. So we've worked with several women so far that have been able to come and stay at the Shiloh House. And we work with, with Homeland Security, with police departments, with other nonprofits that know that we have this facility available. So anyway, we're super excited just to be able to offer that resource to the community. And, even working with some of the police departments that do different sting operations, things like that. Again, they may have a woman that is in need immediately to get to a safe place. And now they actually have a place to be able to take them to. So we're very excited to have the Shiloh House, and it's a place where the community can get involved and they can volunteer. Maybe you're a person that has a real passion for this issue, and you don't have the capacity right now in your life to be able to come and serve in the safe house and stay with one of these women. but you might be like, hey, I'll provide a home cooked meal, or I'll get you a Grubhub gift certificate so that you could have a warm meal. It just has really been neat to see the community show up. And we had a church that packaged welcome baskets for each woman that arrives, so that there's just, a basket on her bed with a lot of different comfort items. Maybe it's fuzzy socks and chapstick and some gum. And I mean, not anything huge, just those little comfort items. So it's just cool to me to be able to engage with our community, let them be a part of what we're doing, so that it's not like, oh, there are certain people that get to do this work and I'll just have to send them a check. I don't get to do anything myself. I really want people to be able to get involved if you feel a passion for this issue. So I love getting to work in the Shiloh House myself and get to know the women that we're getting to serve and see them move on to the next step, knowing that we've loved them well, we have allowed them to experience safety, allowed them to have the time to develop some coping skills and stabilization techniques so that they can self-manage before they move on to the next place that they're going to go. So it's been a huge blessing for us to get to offer that. And I love this work so much.
I can tell your passion just comes through and beams through the screen. Your smile and your eyes, you can just see that this is so important to you. And I love that. That's why I love talking to you on my show. That one of the questions I was going to ask, you kind of answered pretty much for me, is that, how can we help? How can somebody that is not involved, how can they help? You mentioned the little things. Those are little things that we may take for granted every single day. And it's nice to have that little reminder, chapstick, socks, maybe some fluffy socks. Bed Bath & Beyond has those socks that has the aloe in it. I mean, I may take those for granted, just grabbing something small like that, a little gift basket. I love that idea.
So Holly, I got a quick question for you. Right in the middle of the show, she just made me think of something. Is putting together a list of the things that they need at that house. And I know that, Holly, you and I have talked about working and building and trying to generate some sponsors for your show and some contributors to the show. And I would like, and so anybody listening that has a small business that might be interested in contributing to the Shiloh House and to those ladies, we would work together with you so that you can get advertising and marketing through Holly's show, the Good Human series, for donating to that particular organization. What do you think about? Put you on the spot right there.
No, absolutely. I love it. I love that idea. I think that's exactly the whole point of the show. And
yes,
I want to bring awareness to people and places that will make the difference. That's the whole point of this. And the more we can get on the show that can help, the better I feel. I get so much gratitude, so much joy out of helping other people. And I think that, if we can use this platform to help, these are victims that they don't deserve that. Nobody deserves any kind of bad that happens to them. But this is just the most horrific thing that's imaginable for a person to go through. And so I think that whatever we can do, whatever kind of awareness that we can bring, or help, or promotions that we can do for small businesses and help, so that they can help and maybe donate or provide their materials, their items as a donation, and then in return do a show about them. Hey, I'm all for it. I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Carrie, you had mentioned a girl that you're going to go visit next week, and she was rescued, or she was with Homeland Security, rescued by Homeland Security, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, she's amazing. This young woman, our whole team just fell in love with her. It's one of those moments where, because we do the first 30 days of a woman, once she's rescued, we house her for 30 days, and we're able to get the medical care that she needs provided for her. We handle any of the court issues that she may have. A lot of them, have to testify, which is very, very difficult and triggering for them. And so we walk with them through all of those issues that we want to help them overcome and resolve. And again, we're able to just start building that trust for them, that there are good people that truly just want to help. We don't have any agenda. There's no motive other than we want to see you be able to be freed and to be able to thrive again. And so this young woman, we got a call from Homeland Security, and they know that, what we do on the advocacy side is just a portion of what Freedom Shield Foundation does, because then there's the guys, the Freedom Shield dudes, okay? And they have their own reputation, and it is phenomenal because they know how to safely rescue, transport, recover victims anywhere in the world. And I've worked with them for years, and they're just the most incredible men that you would ever meet. And it's one of those teams that if it were my daughter, that's the team I would want to show up. I would want it to be these
Absolutely.
guys. And I know that from the moment they got the information, they are doing everything they can to assess every risk factor so that they're able to safely get her out of harm's way. And so we worked with Homeland Security. They asked our team to conduct the transport. She was from another state. And so our team had to go and get her from another location and bring her here to the Shiloh house. And can you imagine, for this is a very young girl, the risk that it takes for her to trust people she's never met and get into another vehicle and go into another state, hoping that you're not just more traffic.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
Yeah. And so here she comes and she shows up at our house, and I'm so proud of my team because every single encounter that she had, every advocate that served her during the time she was with us, she kept saying, every single person treats me so well. I've never experienced this before. I didn't even know that people would be like this. And I'm so proud of my team because that's what I want every testimony to be from those that we serve. Like, this is the best credentials you could ever have is from, the victims themselves. Absolutely. And from the men that transported her to doctor's appointments, to have to go, to meet with attorneys. She kept saying, they actually make me feel safe. I'm not scared of these men. That in of itself is such a huge victory for each woman that we get to serve. And so she we were able to get her into a long-term restoration program. I work really hard to build good relationships with really awesome long-term residential programs, because if they trust us and then we say, you can trust these people, they're going to be good, then I better know what I'm recommending is true. And so we do vet and we partner, really closely with the long-term programs. So she got placed and after she was there for a few weeks, then she's able to have visitors. And so she reached out and said, I would love if you could come and be my visitor. I would love for you to come. So so I get to go. Yeah, next Wednesday, I'll get to make a trip a few hours away to where she's located. And I get to go visit her and see her in her new location. And I just want to say that organization, I'm so impressed with them because they had an interview with her ahead of time. And they were asking simple questions like, what's your favorite color? And do you have a favorite snack? Or, just all these little things. And when she arrived, her room was decorated in her favorite color.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I was amazed. And that's, it just made me feel so happy that she was still being cared for well and loved well. But she's going to be phenomenal. I know that she has a calling on her life. I mean, you could just tell being around her, she's fierce and, wow. And just such a tender, hearted person. So I'm really, really proud of her and just the decisions that she's made, that we're able to just give her the support she needs to keep walking down that path, and towards freedom. So yeah, pretty.
That says so much about you and Freedom Shield Foundation, that she could just go about her business and continue to, live in this new place and have the needs that she needs. But she's reaching back out to you for you to come visit her. And that speaks volumes. That says so much about you and Freedom Shield. And it gives me chills. I don't get on my arm. I'm covered in chills.
I can't wait, because we truly, our whole team was like, do we have to let her go to the next place? Can she just stay with us? So, but we may become an adoption agency for adults if we're not careful.
I was gonna ask, do y'all ever have any of the ladies that y'all rescue that come back and work and volunteer and help with y'all?
Yes. I'm so glad you asked that, Lyndon, because I was saying earlier, we have 23 women that are going through more training. We've done all of the Freedom Shield training, which to become an advocate with Freedom Shield, it's 17 hours worth of training that we do for every person that works as an advocate for us. But I wanted them to be even more trained. And so because I'm good friends with Sarah Lynn, I just asked for a favor. And I was like, would you please come and train our team? There's a specific training that she does. It's called TBRI. It's Trust-Based Relational Intervention. It was created out of TCU, actually. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. And it's just a way of approaching people to establish trust. That your whole focus is just helping them to have felt safety with you and your program. And so out of these 23 women who are going through this training with us, several of them have already gone through the programs that I've had in the past and are now working with us as advocates. So we employ them, we're able to give them jobs, and they are so good at what they do because they understand, they have a compassion and an empathy that is just so powerful. And so I love being able to work alongside now those that I got to serve, in the past. They're now, right there next to me doing the same work. Yeah.
Well, it's much easier to trust somebody that has walked in your shoes, and it's much easier to open up to somebody that has been through some of what you've been through, and it kind of helps you to get to a better place when you've got somebody that shares the stories, whether they're good stories or bad stories. It's so heartwarming to know that you guys have these girls come back and serve with you. If say I wanted to come and join one of these programs, one of the trainings, is there a site? Is there a web page, or is there somewhere that we can go to become more involved? If that's something that we are able to do, is there somewhere that we can go, somebody that we can reach out to? Do we just reach out to you to get involved more deeply in this?
Yes. So if you go to our website, we actually have a volunteer section that you can go to and fill out the form. And that's on that page, and that will get you signed up for the first step, which is just a volunteer orientation. And that orientation we do once a month, and we are able to really give you an overview of the entire organization, what our history is, what our mission is, what we do currently, and how all the different opportunities for you to be able to get involved. Whether you're a male or a female, there are different roles that you can play. And so that's the easiest way to get connected. We have a volunteer coordinator who will then follow up with you once you fill out that form online and get you signed up for a volunteer orientation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Easy process. I was hoping it would be an easy on-ramp for anyone that would want to get involved. Yeah.
Very nice. And then tell me something about the David Scholl School that's opening in Pakistan. I'm very interested to hear about this.
Yes, I'm so proud of this. We were able to get connected. We have some connections in Pakistan, and one of the people we work with there informed us about this opportunity to be able to open a school for children. And again, those that are being persecuted in Pakistan are the Christians. So these are little boys they're Christian, so they're targeted for labor trafficking. They're forced to work in really horrific conditions, not able to get an education because they're obviously having to work. So this school is specifically for these kids that are being rescued out of labor trafficking. They're able to have a safe place to live and get an education, which is amazing. And then the cool part, in addition to that, so we have these kids that are getting to just be free to be kids, first of all, and get an education. Well, then the second part of this is there's a whole portion of this building that is going to be set up for women who, again, are being sex trafficked. And these are Christian women, and they're targeted and persecuted for their Christianity and forced to become sex slaves. And so the other part of this facility will be to house these women and give them skill sets, help them to learn a trade that they can then provide for themselves, become self-sustaining, and receive the care and the compassion that they need to be able to heal from what they've experienced. So we named this the David Scholl School, or the David Scholl Center, because our founder, Ro, his business partner was a man named David Scholl, who he wrote the entire manual that we still use for all the rescues that we do internationally. And he passed away this time last year, very suddenly. And he was a man that served our country in the military for years, and then dedicated the rest of his life to rescuing those who have been trafficked all around the world. So we wanted to honor him, and we were able to name this center after him. So
Wow.
We're excited to be able to do that. And I just know that in the years to come, as people want to be able to support what we're doing, and we get to see that just grow, I can't even imagine the impact that we'll get to have in that location.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
That's
it went that deep. That's just incredible, and that brings tears to my eyes. I'm gonna move to a different subject because
I got a quick question for Carrie. I know that a lot of what y'all do is on the rescue side, and I know that through I've always been aware of this human trafficking, sex trafficking, and things like that. And I've admitted this. I always felt like way over there, right? Some other country, the third world countries, and being on Holly's show, actually getting to talk to Ro and you, I've realized that it can actually be next door, and we don't even understand that it's local, and we don't understand that. I don't want to say different levels, but it's happening in different occasions. What can be done? And I don't know that you can prevent it, but how can we recognize things and prevent the people that are at risk from going through those type of things?
I think, again, you kind of have different levels of influence that each of us are able to affect. And so when you start in the center with your own family, it's assessing the risk that may be there for you and your own children. And again, I tell people all the time, the online risk is the highest vulnerability that we have, depending on, who your kids are connecting to, who they may be exposed to. The statistic from 2017 was that 1 in 5 kids were approached online by sexual predators. I believe that has only gone up, especially through COVID. Right. That has become, everything moved and pivoted online. We saw that happen. So I feel like the kids are even more at risk than they were before. So you take 1 in 5 kids being approached, and there's no telling what the stat is now. So that would be the first thing I would say, is that you have to be connected to the people in your own house first to know what's happening, what their activities are, who are they talking to? Are they friending people or following people that they don't actually know? Do they think, because this person is friends with 2 of my friends, they must be safe? And yet that's just the approach that the predator is using to gain access to kids and find out who will be the most vulnerable. So right. The first level is just within your own home. And then when you're looking at the community around you, if you are a person that's like, I want to have my eyes wide open, I want to be able to notice and recognize myself if there's something going on that I should report. So I tell people all the time, you're looking for, first of all, look for power over dynamics. If there's someone who looks as if they're being controlled by another person. Is there an age differentiation or even a race differentiation that doesn't necessarily make sense? Maybe there's a man who is dressed normal and in, appropriate clothing, and then you have a girl who is not dressed appropriate, either for the weather. She may not have appropriate clothing for the weather, or she's just dressed very provocatively, maybe considerably younger than the man that she's with. Those are things that I would start noticing, and I would start paying attention. If I see them out in a location where I can identify a vehicle, get a license plate, I'm gathering identifiers to be able to make a report. So I'm going to have a description of the man, a description of the girl, if I can get a vehicle. And I don't recommend this because you don't want to put yourself at risk or at danger, but if it's a safe way that you could get a photo so that you would have that as well, then go for it. If it's not safe, don't risk it, okay? Don't be stupid. But at the same time, you have to know what you're looking for. If you are someone who maybe has a position that you're going to be able to, maybe you are, a cashier at a gas station or at Target, and the individual, they don't make eye contact. They are not able to look at you because, again, if they make eye contact with someone, they're going to be punished for that. You cannot make eye contact if you have a pimp or a trafficker with anyone, okay? Because number one, it's signaling, and they know that. Or it can even be, in some circles, if you made eye contact with someone, especially a man, you're indicating to them that you want them to purchase you or to become your new pimp. So they will not make eye contact, and they're trained not to do that, or they will be punished. So if someone cannot look you in the eye, and that's a real huge red flag for me. If they don't know a home address, if they cannot tell you a home address, if they don't have an ID on them at all, those are things that, again, are going to indicate this person may be in trouble. And then I just tell people, make a report. You're not doing any harm by calling and saying, call 911 or call your local police department and say, this is what I saw. These are the identifiers that I have. I just want to go ahead and make this report so that I can have, I can lay my head on my pillow at night knowing that I tried. I never encourage people to try to get involved or to approach someone and ask them if they're a victim or if they're being trafficked. If you do that, you're potentially putting her at greater risk for being abused, because then she'll be punished for signaling in some way to someone. And so we don't want to ever approach them directly in a way that would put them at risk ever. So just be mindful of that. So make that initial report locally, and then call the human trafficking hotline and go ahead and make a report, because that's the national database for all reporting when it comes to human trafficking. So even though you've done one locally, you want to go ahead and also get it into that database, because if they're moving state lines, this local police department isn't necessarily talking to the one in California. So getting them into that national trafficking hotline database helps build cases that are going to be, on a national level.
Right. Okay.
One thing that my dad used to always tell me is if you see something, say something. I know that's, everybody says that today, but you don't have to dial, if you're worried about dialing 911, you can dial the non-emergency number.
Exactly.
And then that way you'll get to talk to a dispatcher, and you can tell them why you're calling. And so that's another way. I know I've heard people say, oh, I don't want to dial 911. I mean, it's not an emergency, right? What if it's not an emergency? You don't have to do that. Just dial the non-emergency number. You can ask Alexa, what is the non-emergency number for such and such county or city? We've got so many things that are at our fingertips today that can help us get to the right place very quickly. Yes. And so we should never be afraid to say something if we see something like what Carrie's talking about. Right. And then, Carrie, you had mentioned a feeding program and then a Christmas retreat. I know you don't have much time, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm so excited to hear about everything that you've been talking about, and I don't want to miss anything. So can you give us a little bit of information, or if you have time, give us information about the feeding program and then the Christmas retreat that is happening this weekend?
Absolutely. So our feeding program is actually called Operation Zip Code. And so we realized this year through COVID, we we had no idea the food insecurity that existed right here in the Metroplex for so many people. And so as a nonprofit, we have had a feeding program that we could initiate anywhere in the world when we needed to provide food for a place that maybe, we spent a lot of time in Iraq, we've been in Nigeria and different places. And sometimes you need to provide those basic needs in order to establish, kind of an inroad. So the feeding program has always been something we've used, but not really as much domestically. But this year, we had the sense that we need to activate this for our own community. And sure enough, we actually had over 2,000 volunteers that came out and helped us through COVID to package 1 million meals to get them out to our community. Wow. And it really blew us away. We had several different feeding events, food packaging events. And every time we would get the food delivered to, just the local food pantries, they would call us and say, can you do another one? We're already out of food. And wow. we were really kind of blown away. We had no idea. And we just have seen that there has not been a recovery yet for so many families. And so we are now going to be very strategic with this program because, again, sometimes people want to understand, how is that connected to trafficking? It sounds like you're doing something different. And the truth is, it's all connected. Because if you have your basic needs going unmet, then that leaves you vulnerable. Okay. Right. Then maybe a single mom is having to work 3 jobs now to be able to provide for her kids who are now left unsupervised and vulnerable. Right. Or she's having to look at options that she would never consider to be able to get work in order to provide for her children. So if we can see that some of those root issues are poverty, they are food insecurity, and we can solve for those, then that's going to help people not be vulnerable to being trafficked. So we are strategically focusing on the most vulnerable zip codes in our cities. And that is where we're going to target our feeding programs, partnering with local churches and volunteers, people who care about their neighbors and want to see people have their basic needs met. So we're very excited. We'll be doing another feeding food packaging event this month. And then in January, we'll be launching that on a regular basis, targeting, like I said, the most vulnerable zip codes that we know of in our cities. So we're very excited about that because we saw this was just a need that we can do this. We have this feeding program, and the meals that we're able to provide, it's only 25 cents to feed a family of 6. Gosh. That is what we're able to do. And so when you give to that program, your dollar goes such a long way. And that's another thing about our organization is that we have the lowest overhead. I've worked in a lot of different places, and they cracked me up because when I joined the team, I was the first female staff member. And I was like, can we get some hand soap and trash cans? Like, this is kind of basic. And they were like, you're making our overhead go up. And I'm like, no, like, y'all need to wash your hands, dudes. Like,
especially during COVID. No, that's one thing that I really admired about Freedom Shield Foundation is there's not a lot of overhead. So when you donate, and I'm not in any way bashing any kind of program that is trying to help, not one bit. But when you've got a lot of overhead and you have a lot of executives and they're taking their pay and everything, even though it may be a 501c3 or a nonprofit, there's still overhead to run that business. And when you don't have that overhead, you're able to provide a lot more of that money that comes in or those donations that come in directly to the source that needs it. And that's what I love about Freedom Shield is the overhead that you guys hold is so minute that I mean, you're guaranteed that if you provide a donation or provide a meal or provide some clothing, it is truly going to go to the source that needs it. Yes. And that's so important these days because so many foundations, people don't want to donate to them because they don't trust them anymore because they hear of all these high dollar executives getting paid. And it's really important to know when you are donating or when you are, trying to provide money for somebody that it is truly going to the source. And I love that about you guys. it warms my heart to know that.
I think it's one of the things that I'm most proud of, just because of the integrity of this organization. Again, I left the organization I founded. I left that organization to join this one. And that was one of the things I loved, is that they're doing the work, and every dollar is going straight into the actual operations and the programs. And it's just, I mean, I love it because I can feel really proud about just the integrity of that.
Absolutely.
And I've never seen anybody stretch a dollar farther than this organization's
right.
dollar.
Well, I know too that many of them.
Miracle. Like, truly, I feel like it's a miracle all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I know many of them, they front their own money to perform, to go out and do these rescues and to go overseas and to do these all-nighters, to do surveillance and everything. They spend their own money.
Oh yeah.
And so anybody that can donate to Freedom Shield Foundation, I mean, I can guarantee that money is going to go to very, very good use.
Yeah, I can too. And that, just thinking of that, Holly, we had a donor. I'm so glad you said that word, because I didn't even remember to mention this when we were talking earlier. But we had a donor who has made a pledge for a $50,000 donation, end of year donation, for basically anybody that gives right now will go towards that match. They're going to match whatever we raise from now through the end of this year. They're going to match it dollar for dollar up to $50,000.
Okay, everybody, stop what you're doing right now and donate.
We can do a lot with that. Like, that will carry us. I can't even tell you how long we'll be able to use that. So yeah, so we're super excited, and I'm glad, because I almost forgot to mention that, but that's a huge opportunity to know that, like, the impact I can make right now, somebody else is going to match that, so it gets doubled. Is just that we were so grateful for this donor being willing to do that. And it was so motivating for us to be able to then tell, individuals right now, whatever you give, they're going to match it. So we're very grateful.
Where did somebody donate? We just go to Freedom
Shield website. Yeah, just go to the website, and there's a donate button there. And you can, any amount will get doubled. And again, up to $50,000. So we have the potential to get $100,000 to go straight into running the programs and operations for 2021.
Wow. Okay, everybody out there listening, go to Freedom Shield and donate.
FreedomShield.org.
Yes.
Wait, is it Freedom Shield Foundation?
FreedomShieldFoundation.com.
Yes.
.com. Got it. Okay. Well, I'm going to personally pledge
thank you.
I'm going to personally pledge as what am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, never mind. I'm going to pledge $1,000 to the organization, and I want that to be recorded and know that is definitely going to happen. And I'm so excited to know that that's going to be doubled. That just makes me glow. My face just smiling so much.
I'm so grateful. Thank you, Holly.
Absolutely.
Carrie, you said that goes on until the first of the year. The
31st of December.
31st of December. Okay.
Yeah, 31st. Yeah. So all of those, if anybody was just wanting to make an end of year donation, we would just be so grateful if we got to be an organization that could receive some of that. We would be very grateful. And like I said, I love the work we get to do, because it's the real lives. And, okay, I have to tell you really quick about this retreat.
Yes, tell us about the retreat.
I have to get back to the training that I left.
We're keeping here for another, we only have 20 minutes, so.
I know. I get so excited about this work. So, so there's a group of women who they have done hard work healing from all that they experienced from being sex trafficked. And some of them were trafficked all over the United States. And they're just the most incredible, inspiring women you would ever meet. And I wanted to honor these women for all the work that they've done. I mean, these incredible women, they have jobs now. Some of them have just completed their degree. They've gone back to school. Like, they they have done so much work to become exactly who they were intended to be before all of these things happened in their lives. So this weekend, I have been calling everybody I know to pull together this incredible Christmas retreat for these women, just to love on them. And I am so excited. We had women who were like, I want to get them, monogrammed robes and just things that they may have never had before.
Oh, that's so
And
wonderful.
I know, I'm super excited. So we have the honor of getting to throw them a Christmas party and let them just have this wonderful retreat. We rented a little Airbnb for their weekend. And again, what thrills me is that I get ideas of, I would love to do this, but then when I reach out to the community, and the community can do it way better than I could have done it on my own, and they're so creative. And people wanted to bless these women, and I cannot wait. Like, it's going to knock their socks off. I just know it. And I love getting to bless these women and just let them know, like, we support you. We're going to continue to support you. And I'm just super excited. So this weekend, I get to go and set everything up and just, hopefully just bless them in a really special way. So that's this weekend.
That's awesome. Hey, Carrie, let me ask you real quick, because I know you have to go, but, if anybody's cleaning out closets or anything like that, or doing their end of the year clean out because they're going to start working out in January and they don't have these clothes over, whatever it may be, is there a way, do you guys need clothes for these women and children? Do you need specific sizes? Is there like a boutique or something like that you can put these clothes in for these women so that they can go to interviews? I have a closet full of stuff that I literally have in bags right now. And I would love to, many of them are business clothes.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I would love to donate those.
This is something that we have such a heart for this, because it's exactly what you're saying. I'm the same way. I have clothing that I'm just like not wearing because we're not in the office every day now, like we used to be. And they're just kind of sitting there in my closet. We just don't have a space right now to be able to keep things. And so hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have a place where we could actually set it up like a little boutique. That's what I think would be really special. So they can go and still kind of shop for themselves, not just take whatever is given, but they can actually choose, which is really empowering. But yeah, right now I just don't have a place to put anything except for my own garage, which
I'm gonna tell my husband he needs to build a little boutique for you. That's gonna be his chore.
I love it.
Stuff like that. I'm gonna put him to work.
I'm sure he's bored. He needs a project, right?
Yeah. Not that I don't give him enough projects around the house as it is. Seriously, if that's something that we can find a space or find a place, or
Holly, what about a resale already there's a resale shop, or like a thrift type store, something like that we can bring on board what we're doing, and maybe they have some facilities where some things could be stored or something like that.
Yeah, that's definitely something. I was just thinking, like, these would be things that would be given to these girls where they didn't have to pay for them.
No, I'm talking about donations from those particular businesses as well.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'll go knocking on doors to help. I'm figuring it out. I know you need the place, the location for the items. So let's start tackling that. If anybody has any ideas, throw in the comment section some ideas, or if you have a location where we can have, a Shiloh boutique, whatever you want to call it, but something that we can have where these girls can go and pick out clothes on their own that were donated, that they don't have to pay for, that will help them get back out into the real world and into the business world and whatever it may be, just so that they can pick their own things, like you're saying. And it's not, here you go, here's a bag of clothes. If you can wear them, great. If you can't, do what you want with them. It's not that. I don't want to just throw a bag of clothes onto somebody. I want somebody to be able to pick out what's going to make them feel so good. Just like whenever I go to a store and I try something on and I buy it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the way I look in this. It makes me feel good. I want them to feel that. I want them to have that experience, but not have to pay for it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love that. I love that because, again, I would say 9 times out of 10, when we are picking up a woman, she has a trash bag of all of her belongings, and that is all that she has. And, she has to start from scratch. And so what we've been doing is we have people that will donate, Target gift cards or Kohl's, just somewhere that we can go and be able to, after we find out what her sizes and her needs are, then we're able to go and get some of those items for her. So that's been a huge blessing. But yeah, it's such a need for them to have clothing that they can feel, they can have dignity in. And, it's important, truly.
Absolutely. Holly Cindy has got a comment. I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not, but I think that's a great idea, to create something online where you could actually post what you have.
Oh,
and then when someone claims it, you could ship it out to them. So that's a great idea. See, if we get everybody watching, listening, and getting engaged, we can figure this out. We really can.
Exactly.
That's what I said. I need the community because I'm not really that creative, but I'm like, hey, I want to do this thing. And then other people are like, and this is how you can do that.
That's right. Exactly. That's a great job, Cindy. Thank you so much.
Cindy, if you'll reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, that'd be great. I'd love to pick your brain.
Okay. I know they're blowing up my phone now. But
oh, no. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you. And you're such an inspiration. And I just feel so good after hearing you talk and just seeing your face and seeing the joy that you have in helping these girls. It's just it's the most incredible thing. And now you go get back to your training.
Okay. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carrie. Good to see you again.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wow. Okay, Cindy, I want you to reach out seriously because that is such a great idea, and that is the whole point of this show is bringing awareness and everybody coming together. I mean, you don't have to be in Texas, you don't have to be right here. You can make a difference, and by providing ideas that can help these girls. I mean, this organization is a very small organization, and it's such a great organization that if we can find and all come together to help to build them up and to build up the organization and help these girls get back into a somewhat normal, if normal is even possible, a somewhat normal life again, think about how incredible that would make you feel knowing that you were a part of that. That's one of the things. RVs for MDs is something that was created by my friend Emily. She wasn't my friend when we first started RVs for MDs. We had never met, but her idea and then my giving, it turned into a global movement. And it was something that was started right here in small town, Prosper in Salina, Texas. So you have no idea the impact that you could have just by speaking up and just by giving an idea or providing a little something to help. And that's exactly what happened with RVs for MDs. It grew, it was huge. We were on hundreds and hundreds of news stations, reporters reaching out. Tamron Hall, we were on the Tamron Hall show on the ABC Good Morning, everything. It was just incredible. And it was because of one little thing that somebody decided to speak up about, and that was Emily asking for an RV. And it was just that one little idea. And so you have no idea how small your idea may be. It could turn into something huge, just like what Cindy was talking about, an online boutique. I mean, hello. I shop all the time online. How did I not think of that? You know what I mean?
Right. That is awesome. It really is. And that's just the power of bringing awareness and getting a collective group of like-minded people together. Yes. Because everybody together has a solution, but sometimes it's hard to do it alone. So that was really, really cool.
Yeah, I feel really good. Can you tell? I'm just like my face is about to pop. I'm smiling so much. So, well, I want to bring a little attention to Mr. Linden. because he has developed this podcast radio live stream called The Difference. And I feel like I have been able to fulfill more of a dream than I ever thought possible. And that's helping people. I love to help people. It brings me the greatest joy. You can't put a dollar amount on the feeling that you get when you know that you've helped somebody. And Lyndon, that's what you've done for me, and I am beyond grateful. You are a mentor. You are the most incredible person. You are a good human, and
thank you.
Your knowledge and expertise and everything that you're doing for us through The Difference, bringing us into the podcast world. I never ever imagined that I would be on the podcast.
You or me either.
Much less doing live Facebook or live YouTube. I never in a million years thought that I would do that. And you've helped me overcome some of those fears and get to that point where I can reach hundreds of thousands of people. And it's incredible. And so I wanted to let everybody know, if you are interested in starting a podcast, if you've ever had the dream of doing a podcast or even just trying it, just to see what it's like, reach out to either myself or to Lyndon. Let them know you heard about this on the Good Human series. And let's see what we can do about getting you your own podcast and getting you on The Difference and become a part of our family. And that's what it is. It's The Difference. Our team, our group, the people that we have that are part of The Difference, we're a family. And it's one of those families where you know how you don't get to choose your family, but this family we get to choose, and I love
right. That. You know what's really cool about it is, and I'll say this: we have some really good people. We have good humans doing their shows. I'll get into that a little bit, but you fortunately were insightful enough to steal the name. You got the name first, but there's just everybody out there. We all working together, kind of like what Cindy did. We all are starting to realize different ways that we can help and serve others.
Yes.
And benefit from that. I mean, one of the things you talked about, and this is how I got into podcasting and video, was helping real estate agents do video that were intimidated by it, that were insecure or were too humble to brag about themselves.
Okay.
And so, but when you start delivering your message in a way that is to help others, many times we will go out on a limb. We will risk certain things. We will go get out of our comfort zone to help someone else when we won't get out of our comfort zone to help our own selves.
Right.
And so when I started realizing that, The Difference really kind of took on a life of its own. When I started The Difference, it was to talk about the commonalities in professionalism that helped a person go from doing something acceptable to exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And as we evolved, one of the things that Brian Dobbs, another person that's part of our family on the show, he used to ask this question in his classes: if money and time were no object, what would you be doing to serve the world? And it hit me one day. It really shocked me, because we had a classroom full of 15 people, and not one single person in there would have been doing the job that they did to pay their bills if money and time were no object. They wanted to do something else. And the more I've done this, Holly, I've realized that we can do that through a podcast. You're doing it. You're doing it. You still do mortgages.
I love it.
You love mortgages.
I do.
But at the same time, you can serve the world by doing something else. And that's kind of what The Difference has turned into. And right. Each person is starting to pick up their cause and their purpose. Mm-hmm. James Kern has a show now, Moving Conversations. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world, because whether I'm on here co-hosting or I'm just in the back producing, I get to hear them all.
Yeah.
And it's so impactful. It's been life-changing for me. I mean, I get to hear his show. I get to hear Brian Dobbs, and he's bringing on some of the most insightful people. Mm-hmm. We've got Blake Timmons and Nathan Smith that have the Exodus. Okay. Yeah. Their purpose is to teach people that if you don't feel fulfilled in your corporate job, that there are ways to break free to that and become an entrepreneur and become self-sufficient and self-supporting and really feel like, and maybe change your life's direction. A lot of us feel that way. There's a lot of people that love the job that they're in, and that's great. But if you don't, they're trying to show a different pathway and provide leadership for that. I don't want to leave everybody out. We've got about 12, 13 shows a week right now, and all of them are good. All of them have a different message. They all help in a different way. And I just want to say to the small business owners, the entrepreneurs, the people out there that really are wanting to make a difference for themselves, for their families, for their industry, for the world. If you've got an idea or a thought, we want to help you with that. We want to help you with that because it's just like, Cindy coming on. I don't know who Cindy is. Love to meet her now.
You do.
But she came on with this. She came on with this.
That's why. So I probably do.
Well, she's got another. She goes, let's call it Be Beautiful. That's the Be Beautiful boutique.
Oh, I like it.
This is very clever. Very clever. Very clever. Yes, we're definitely going to have a conversation with Cindy.
Yes.
But that's what it's about. It's just about kind of forming a community where people actually, if I can say this, give a damn about other people. We really do. We give a damn about other people. Especially with COVID, we want to see people not just survive, but thrive.
Right.
And that's what we're using this platform to do. So,
let me interrupt you real quick to add to what you're saying, Lyndon, and just so people that might be interested know. This has been incredible for me, but I would not know the first thing to do. I wouldn't know how to do the little scrolly thing on the bottom. I wouldn't know how to put the names on there. I wouldn't know what program to use or how to put together a reminder show or anything like that. That's the stuff that Lyndon does for us behind the scenes. And so there's so much that he does for you behind the scenes. So if you've looked into doing a podcast and you think, oh my God, there's just no way I can do all of this. There's no way I can figure this all out. He's already done it all. So basically you get to have a podcast starting out, just right out of the box. Everything's already programmed for you right out of the box.
It is kind of a done for you type program. If you've got a story, and we all do, there's a book inside of all of us. There really is. And there is something inside us. There is some challenge we've gone through that will inspire someone else to give it one more day and try one more day.
Absolutely.
Because one thing that I realized as an entrepreneur is sometimes we become so isolated that we think our problems are unique to us. And we think that we are failing in this world. We're failing in this business. We're failing in whatever it is we may be doing. And then when you have the opportunity to speak to other entrepreneurs, you realize that this is it. This is the life, right? Yeah. So you don't feel sorry for yourself anymore. You start to feel inspired because that person's telling you, I felt just like you.
Right.
I was
talking about.
Yes, I was at that day that I wanted to give up, but I pushed one more day and everything broke open for me.
Right.
And I want to be able to do that for the people out there that are facing these challenges and let them know that they're not alone. So,
well,
you guys do the job. I'm just trying to bring everybody together. Y'all are the ones that's really, y'all are being the inspiration, and I really appreciate and love all of you.
Well, ditto. Right back at you, because I couldn't do this without you. Trust me, I looked into it. It was a dream. It was something I wish I could have done, and that I just didn't think I could do it. I didn't have it wasn't that I didn't have the means to do it. I could pay somebody to do it, but I just didn't know where to start. And it was like, God just put you right in my path last year in December, I have to say, I have to thank Facebook for that. I know we only have 30 seconds left, but I have to thank Facebook for that, because they put your show right in front of me, and I thought, ooh, I want to be on there.
Yep. Well, I'm glad we met, and you have been a blessing in my life and a lot of other people. So I appreciate you, Holly.
Absolutely. Well, you as well. Everybody, thank you so much for joining our show today. If you have any questions, comments, please, link them below. Send me a private message, whatever you feel comfortable doing. And until next time, be a good human.
The Difference is a proud supporter of the following nonprofits. Creek and Timber Legacy, providing outdoor learning, hunting, and firearm therapy for veterans, first responders, and children with serious illness. You can find more info at creekandtimberlegacy.org. And Sharp Shoes. Through local schools and shelters, Sharp Shoes helps provide new shoes for countless needy people and their families. You can find more info at sharpshoes.org.